What all did you do at your office job?
I was a video game developer. So
Well, I mean, like specifically, like within those things, like when you started out, I would assume you weren't at the same place you were or the same specific job title as when you ended.
Oh, no, not at all. So I went to college to get my undergrad in computer science.
Yeah.
So I'm traditionally a programmer. And my first job, I started as a programmer working in tools for art pipelines and stuff. Mm-hmm. So basically, as art goes from what the artist makes to what the video game actually renders, like there's a bit there that needs to run, and I was building that bit.
Wow.
So I did that and then eventually moved into what we call production in video games, which is a lot like a manager focused on both resource management and people. So you have a limited number of resources to make the game, so number of people, you have a particular scope that you're trying to make, and then you have a limited number of money, right, to bring in more people. So you're sort of playing that puzzle constantly and trying to just make sure that you can actually get this game on time and on budget and not have to hire an army of people that you then have to lay off after. So I did that primarily for my entire professional career. So I worked at like 4 different places, worked on 12 different games.
And it's a pretty cool career to have. I mean, that's one of those things that, like, when you're a kid, you're like, I want to be a video game tester, not realizing it is what it is.
It's not very glamorous.
Exactly. Exactly. People are like, oh, you're working on video games.
It's like
that
I
must
still
be
sit
fun.
in a cubicle, guys. Like,
yeah, it's still like it's still hard work. Like, you worked on AEW GM, right?
Yeah, I did. That was sort of my project.
So how did you bring that to them, or did they say
no?
So
AEW Elite General Manager was built by a team called Crystallized Games. They're actually based in Toronto. I got to visit them for the first time when we went to Toronto. I was like, hey, I've been like on Discord with you guys for like the last 2 years. Can we actually like meet up? And we went and got Thai food. It was great. Anyway,
I like to imagine you as the Discord troll. Like you're in there.
No, not at all.
Trolling random Discords.
Not at all. Not at all. The more chat programs I have, the more I'm like, nope.
Don't want to do it. Don't want to do it.
I'm fine with Slack. Let's stay on Slack, guys. But those guys basically pitched the game to us. Very, very early prototype. So when you see an early prototype in a game, it's not pretty. It's just a lot of like photoshopped art. Let's just sort of get the idea across. And they pitched it to us. We negotiated a contract, and I oversaw development of that game. So I worked a lot on making sure that they were making the best decisions to hit their time and budget. So if they wanted art to go in one particular direction, I'd sort of use my experience to guide them where we needed to go. I've also worked a lot on the creative aspects, which is not something I had a lot of experience in. So when we were doing the season passes, I was the one writing all the scripts for those.
And I mean, you've got that experience, that unique experience.
I'm not a writer.
But I mean, you have the unique experience of being in and around the wrestling business that I would imagine that most of those developers probably wouldn't generally have on every subject. So, I mean, that's something you could lend an awful lot to.
It's nice because they had about 2 guys on the team that were big wrestling fans. So they were very like, okay, this is how this is going to go. This is how this is going to go. And then the other guys, it's always interesting to sort of introduce someone to wrestling where you're kind of showing them the ropes, so to speak. But saying like, no, we don't really do that. We do this sort of a thing. So they were all big wrestling fans by the end of the development.